Hi guys, and welcome back to another video Gaming with the Powers. I'm Jake, and today I'm going to be giving my review of Raccoon Tycoon, the board game from Forbidden Games. Alright guys, as always with our reviews, I'm going to go ahead and show you how the game is played first, and then we'll be back up here to give you guys my review. Okay guys, so we are down here at the table where we have everything set up for a game of Raccoon Tycoon. So the goal of the game, guys, is to collect the most victory points, and you do that by collecting town cards and railroad cards, as they call them. And so you'll spend money or goods in order to collect these town cards and railroad cards, and then the person that has the most victory points at the end of the game will be the winner. Raccoon Tycoon is a economic set collection type game. So let's show you how it works, guys. So there are a couple different actions that you will have on your turn. So starting out, every player will start with $10. So you'll have $10 in your little bank, and the first player will get the first player token, okay? So you will start with 3 price and production cards in your hands, guys, okay? These price and production cards, what's going to happen is when you play this card, at the bottom of the card, it's going to have the resources. So these are the resources that you will be able to produce. So you will choose any 3 of these resources, and you will gain one of each, right? So that, for example, there's 3 iron and 1 coal. So I could just gain 3 iron. I could gain 2 iron and a coal, and that's basically my choices there. Then at the top of the card, it's going to have the price. So when you produce these goods, prices of other goods will increase. So you're going to increase wheat, wood, and just general goods by 1, okay? So that is every time that you play a card. And so all the cards are going to have different combinations of different goods that are going to fluctuate up and down. Some cards will only have 3 goods that you can produce. Some cards will have 4, and so there's ways to upgrade that, okay? So again, the first thing you can do on your turn, guys, so let's say I played this card right here. So I would get my choice of any 3 goods. So let's say I take a luxury good, I'll take some wine, I'll take some coal, and then I will take some wheat, okay? Then I would raise the price of wood up 1, so wood is now $2, and then goods are now $4, okay? So that is my turn. You'll go ahead and discard the card, and then you will draw a new one. The second action you can take on your turn, guys, is to sell your goods. So once you feel like you have accumulated enough of one good and the price is at the right price for you. So for example, let's say the luxury good is at $10. I want to go ahead and sell my bottle of wine here, my luxury good. You'll just put it back in the pool, and then you will take $10 from the bank. For every 1 good that you sell, that is how much you will drop the price. So I only sold 1 bottle of wine, so the price of the luxury wine will now go down to $9, okay? If I sold 3, I would drop it down 2 more to 7, okay? A good can never go below its number. So let's say I sold 7 bottles of wine. You would just drop it all the way down to the 3, and that's where it would stay. Okay, so that is the second action on your turn, guys, being able to sell that commodity. Okay, guys, so the third action that you can take is the railroad auction, okay? So this is where the bidding mechanism of the game comes in. So let's take a look at this Tycoon railroad card. So let's say I want to acquire this guy. He will give me victory points at the end of the game, okay? So the railroad, so first of all, if I have one of them, he'll give me 4, 2, 9, 3, 16, and 4, 25. The number in the bottom right-hand corner, guys, will indicate the starting bid of what the starting bid has to be on that card. So let's say I want to go ahead and start my bid. I must start my bid with $7, and then everybody else will go around, and then I'll have the opportunity to outbid them at that particular moment in time. Okay, and so whoever started the auction, if they are not the winner of the auction, then they will get to take another action. But if they are the winner, then they will go ahead and collect the card. So let's say nobody wants to challenge me, so I will pay $10. I would get $3 back from the bank, and then you will flip over another railroad card from the top of the deck to reveal another fat cat, okay? So again, whenever you collect 2 of these same cards, so for example, these are 2 fat cats. If I have both these fat cats in my play area at the end of the game, I will get 7 points, okay? So that is how the railroad auction will work, okay? Okay guys, so the next action available to you is going to be able to purchase a building. So your buildings are down here below, guys, and these are going to have different effects, like they're going to increase your production, or you're going to be able to produce one good of that type. So for example, let's say I bought this iron deposit building for $5, okay? During my production turn, so when I play my production card here, I'll be able to select the 3 resources that I want, and then using my iron deposit, I will be able to collect 1 extra iron. I get 1 iron plus 1 iron from that production as well. I don't have to select iron to be able to get an iron from the deposit, okay? However, the caveat is you can only use 1 of these during your turn. So let's say even if I had the iron and wood tiles in my little area, I would have to choose, do I either want to get plus 1 extra wood or 1 iron as well, okay? So over time, these buildings will change into other things, and these other higher buildings, these more expensive buildings, will be able to add different bonus effects. So for example, you have a cottage industry, which you can now produce 4 goods, get 4 goods instead of 3, or 4 resources instead of 3 resources. The freight company will allow you to sell 2 commodities during the sell phase. The black market will give you a hand size of 5 instead of 3. And then the brickworks, you can build towns with 1 fewer commodity, okay? So there is a whole stack of tiles. These are tiles here, and then there's a whole another stack of tiles as well, and then you have some more basic tiles compared to these starting basic tiles as well, okay? So that is the purchase building actions. Again, you'll just spend the money that requires in the bottom right-hand corner, and you will give that to the bank, and then you will collect your building. The last action available to you guys is to purchase a town, okay? So looking at a town card, the town cards are kind of similar to the railroad cards in the fact of they're going to award you victory points. So this card will give you 2 victory points. You can purchase this town by spending 2 wood or any 4 resources of your choice, okay? If you pair a town with a railroad card, you get an extra bonus of 2 victory points. So let's say I had this fat cat. I could pair the fat cat and have him visit Beaver Ford, and I would now collect 4 victory points from this town card instead of just 2. Okay? So that is the purchase a town action. So those are all 5 actions in the game, guys. Just to run over them real quick, you can play a production card. You will gain the 3 resources here, plus an extra resource of your choice if you have a building. And then you will drive the price of all of these up by 1, okay? The next thing you can do is sell your commodities. So you will sell it and gain the money that it is on the track for, and then you will drop the track down for ever how many goods that you sold. The next thing you can do is start an auction to buy one of these railroad cards. The next thing you can do is buy a building. And the last thing, guys, is spend the resources or commodities in order to gain a town card, okay? So that is how the game is played, guys. The end of the game will be triggered when either the town deck or the railroad deck runs out. So once one of those 2 things happens, that will trigger the end of the game. So once these occur, you will trigger the end of the game, and then everybody will get one last turn during the end of that round, and then you guys will add up all your victory points, and the person who has the most victory points will be the winner. All right, guys, well, I'll see you back up top. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into my review. So I'm going to go ahead and give this theme an 8 out of 10 here. I think this is a very good theme. I think it's a cute theme, right, with all of the little animals. And so, like, being on the railroad cards, you know, you got the fat cats. Let's go ahead and show you guys some of the other ones, right? So you have the skunk works. There's the fat cats. You have the top dogs, right? Look how cute that little guy is. You got the big bears. Right, you got, and these sly foxes. So it's pretty cute, all of the animals that are in the game. Mechanically, the theme does not necessarily tie too well into the game, but it does have that economic feel, right? You are producing goods, you're selling goods, you're getting money. It does, you know, that tycoon port of the game, that theme fits really well because you are trying to become the next railroad tycoon, essentially. And so I think all of that fits in very well, and so it comes out to be a very good theme. So 8 out of 10 for me. Next up, guys, we're going to look at the components. So I'm giving the components an 8 out of 10 here. I don't think anything really stands out per se, but for the game, you actually have a lot of components and you're getting a lot of stuff, right? So you start with the nice game board. It has a very cool background to it. It's just a generic feel of the game board. All the cards in the game are standard 52 deck playing cards feel, but I love how on the backs of all the cards, they each have their own insignia with, or not insignia, but they each have their own text. So you can easily determine where the railroad cards are, the town cards, and the price and production cards. Same thing with the buildings. The buildings have their own text on the back. So everything is easily identifiable, right? The tiles, guys, are basically cardboard punch-out tiles. They're nice and thick and are very sturdy. And so that is really well as well. And then the goods are cardboard punch-out, and these are kind of a thick cardboard as well. So everything is made very well. And so, and then the money, I forgot about the money, right? The money is kind of cool because it's about as thin as Monopoly money is, but it's not as papery, you could say, or flimsy is what I want to say. Like that Monopoly money has that like flat paper look. This has like a cool little gloss almost to it, and the texture on it just feels really nice. Like it feels like an upgraded version of Monopoly money. So that's why I'm giving these components. I think they're very good components, in 8 out of 10. Okay, guys, moving on to setup. So I'm going to go ahead and give this setup an 8 out of 10 here. I think this is a very easy setup. You're just getting the money out, separating the money. You're placing out the game board, separating the decks out, putting them on their spot. Everything has its own spot on the game board that's easily identifiable. You get your resources out, you put them on the board, and you deal out 3 cards to everybody, and you guys are ready to play. So literally, it takes about 5 minutes to set this game up. Very good setup here, 8 out of 10 for me. Okay, guys, moving on to the length. So I'm giving the length a 7 out of 10 here. I think it's a good length. It's going to run you about, at 2 players, it's going to run you about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe a little longer, depending on how slow you guys are in getting those towns in those railroad cards. Like, do you want to stack up on money? You can go ahead and do that. And so that'll drag the game out a little bit. But all in all, I think the game, I think it flows pretty well, but it will take you a long time, again, because there's a lot of cards in that railroad deck, or there's a lot of cards in the town deck that you're having to get through, and you got to get those commodities, okay? Because there is a point where it's like, you want to focus on getting money, but you also need the commodities as well. So 7 out of 10, I think it's just a good overall length to the game, and it kind of fits that economic game style where it's like usually these games are longer, so that's how it feels. Okay, moving on to difficulty. So I'm giving the difficulty a 4 out of 10 here, guys. Remember, the lower the difficulty, the easier we feel it is. Look, I feel like this game is very, very simple to pick up and kind of easy to grasp. Now, there are some strategic elements to the game, like I spoke about with the length, is you can't get solely focused on trying to make as much money as possible because you still need goods in order to get the towns. But at its base core, guys, everything is very simple. You have 5 actions, and all of those are very clear and understandable for somebody who's never played a board game before. You play a card. On the bottom half of the card, you pick 3 of those goods. The top half of the card, you'll move those goods up 1, right? You can sell your goods to get money, and you just look at the board because it tells you how much those goods are being sold for. You can buy a building. It tells you clearly how much the building is worth and what that building does. There's never really any confusion on the buildings. And then you want to start an auction to get a card. All right, everybody starts bidding. Or you can use your commodities to buy towns. And so I feel like everything is clear and identifiable, and you're not going to have too many issues here with the difficulty. So 4 out of 10 for me. Okay, guys. Up next, we got the replayability. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, okay? I think it's got good replayability, but not a whole lot. And again, it's an economic game, right? You're basically doing the same thing over and over again. The only thing that's going to change is maybe how much money you had or your strategy. Each game, you know, one game you might be able to get a lot of railroad cards. The next game you might need to focus on town cards. So there is that variability depending on the strategy you want to take. But again, it's still the same thing every time. You're playing cards, you're getting goods, you're selling the goods, and you're just getting, you know, this time I might get some cats instead of getting some dogs. So it's kind of a little bit above me, average for me in terms of replayability, all right? But I think the game is very fun, and you're going to want to play it multiple times, and so that's kind of the draw of the game, all right? So 6 out of 10 for me on replayability. Okay, guys, next thing we are looking at the price. So this is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. I think this game usually retails around $25, maybe a little $30. I picked this up for $20 at that Barnes & Noble sale. I think right around that range between $20 and $30 is a very good price point for this game. With the amount of stuff that you're getting, with the components and the ease of play, from the game, it's a big box, or it's like a big game, but it doesn't feel like a big game, if that makes sense. And so overall, I think it's a very good price point and definitely a very good game. Okay, last thing, we're going to my overall ratings, guys. And if you kind of got the theme here, it's been a lot of these ratings are kind of the same. And so my overall rating here is going to be an 8 out of 10. I think overall this is a very good game. This is a game that I'm always willing to play. This is a game that I'm always willing to recommend. I think out of the two, there's two games kind of in this series, you can say, quote unquote. You have Raccoon Tycoon and Lizard Wizard. So Raccoon Tycoon is definitely the lighter version of Lizard Wizard, and so I would definitely start with Raccoon Tycoon. But again, at the base of the game, it is an economic game. If you don't really like economic games, then you might want to steer clear of this. But I do see a lot of potential here, and I do think it's a very good game. As I was thinking about this, I was like, man, I'm a teacher, and so I was like, I might bring this to my class and have some kids play it too, because some of my kids are seniors. And so they're taking economics right now. So I was like, I bet you'd be pretty cool to bring this to class and, you know, on like a Friday or a free day or something, and have them play Raccoon Tycoon to kind of get that economic feel to it. But I definitely think at 2 players, the game is okay. I think this game is definitely suited for more than 2 players. It can play up to 5. I think at right around 4 players is going to be where the game really shines, right? Because the bulk of the game is that bidding factor, and like you want to get into bidding wars with the money, okay? But again, we talk about the game from the point of 2 players. So from the point of 2 players, I think that you definitely are going to have to house rule some things. The big thing is the bidding in the auction. And basically how that works, guys, in the rule book, they tell you that when you start a bid auction, the first player will only get 1 bid. And when he does that bid is final. So basically, you have to determine what your 1 bid is, and if the other player counters you, then you are screwed. You don't have an option to try and counter back. And so that's a little frustrating to both sides of us. But the game still moves mechanically pretty sound at 2 players, because again, your goal is you can still get the town cards and things like that, and it doesn't run as long as 2 players. It maybe runs about 40-45 minutes at 2 players, because you're removing some railroad cards and removing some town cards from the deck. But again, look, I think this game is suited for a higher player count than 2. Again, I still think this is a very good game. This is a fun game in general. I'm not trying to scare you off this game. But you will have to make some house rules if you're going to play this just you and somebody else. But you're going to get the real enjoyment out of this playing it with a higher player count, because you guys are going to be bidding, and you're going to have these bidding wars. And like it's just really gonna be a lot of fun, and that's what makes the game really shine here. But my overall rating, guys, an 8 out of 10. Go ahead and drop in the comment box if you own Railroad Tycoon or Raccoon Tycoon. See, Railroad Tycoon, this birthday shot, and probably should have named it, but there's actually a game, I think there's a licensed game that actually is that, so they could. If you own, go ahead and drop in the comments box, guys. If you own Raccoon Tycoon, let me know your thoughts on the game. What do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you enjoy it? Yeah, as always, guys, if you haven't hit that notification bell, hit that notification bell to be subscribed, or hit that notification bell so you can be notified when new content is dropped. We drop new content every single day, guys. And if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great one. Bye.